Well, hello, hustler. Welcome to another episode of the Wellness Hustle. I'm Brit Tincup. I'm a creative designer, a serial entrepreneur who lived with chronic stress that had me testing every health and fitness tip and trick that would make me feel like myself again. And I'm joined by my co-host, Sasha Fisher, an ex-pro athlete, personal trainer, and nutritional therapy practitioner with years of experience helping high-achieving individuals to reach their health and fitness goals. We're here to redefine what wellness means, simplifying health, fitness, and self-care, empowering you to fuel ambition and embrace wellness, because we believe that hustle isn't a bad word. When applied properly, it's a superpower. Now let's jump in. Welcome back to the Wellness Hustle. We are on our 5th episode. Y'all are so amazing. We've had quite a few downloads. We're so excited that you guys are back for another episode. This week, we're going to talk about essentially fuck your resolutions, because
Yes.
we've realized that resolutions don't stick.
No, they don't.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we got some stats for you guys. 23% quit within the first week. Week 23. Yeah. And 64%, they quit their resolution end of the first month. So end of January,
it's over.
It's over for more than half people. And only by the end of the year, 9 to 12% people still keeping their New Year resolution. How's that for you?
That is wild. And I think
what
our hope for you here is that we can and look, I'm not the queen of keeping resolutions, but I do feel as though I've had a lot of growth over the last, especially 5 years. Mm-hmm. But, I've had to do a lot of really hard things post-divorce. And so kind of wanted to take you guys through how to be the 9 to 12% who successfully achieve their goals instead of be the 23% or the 64% who abandon or quit within the first week to month.
Yes. And I think reason behind it, the biggest reason, you probably did not wait until January 1st to start making changes. You started to make changes as things were progressing in your life. And I think it's important for people to remember, don't do it just for the sake of the date.
Yeah.
Do it to enrich your life and make it better.
And I think we look at this time of the season where, it's December, it's November. So we come off of all these really terrible habits,
Oh yeah, I drink the worst.
I drink a lot more during this time of the year. And, I definitely eat a lot more sweets this time of the year, all of those things. So being mindful of that, setting resolutions or setting goals or intentions in November, December is unrealistic. So we feel really gung-ho because we're sick of our own behaviors going into January. But if you get too aggressive in your start point, you can lose motivation really quickly.
Yes, because it's just too hard.
Yeah.
Right? It's not realistic. When you get in your goals that are not realistic, it's really hard to keep them. You can't just become somebody else overnight. Mm-hmm. It takes time. It took you time to get where you are now. Mm-hmm. However old you are, you created those habits. So you can't change them within literally overnight. So you woke up January 1st and now all of a sudden you're a different person.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen for you.
No. It's always so funny too, because you think of what we do even on the 31st is just go out and party and get drunk, rage cage, whatever. And then you wake up the first day of the year and it's we've already started off on a bad foot because you're hungover.
Yes.
You just did. And it's oh, well, I wanted to go out on a bang. And if you do want to do that, that's totally fine. And give yourself grace on New Year's Day. But I had a moment this year where I was I don't think I want to do anything on the 31st. I definitely don't want to do anything too dramatic, because the last thing I want to do is wake up on the first day of a new year super hungover. Same as my birthday. I don't want to wake up on my birthday and be hungover. Those don't get any easier.
No, they don't. And like you said, yes, you wake up, all of a sudden you're a party animal the night before, and this new year, new you, all of a sudden you walk up like these butterflies, they turn from the worm, you go into a butterfly, all of a sudden you're this Buddha person, mindful, eating only vegetables and clean protein. It doesn't happen that way. It just won't.
It's not going to.
But do you mind if we tell people why most resolutions fail?
Yeah, we can absolutely do that.
I feel like that's important because if you know why, then you can make adjustments.
Yeah.
So the most resolutions fail because it's overwhelming. They're trying to be somebody. We just touched on who they are not.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't even have a clear plan. That's number two, like
Right.
how to get where they want to go. They don't have the support.
Mm-hmm.
They don't schedule things,
Mm-hmm.
and they just lose their motivation. So
Yeah.
those are the main reasons why people really abandon their first new year resolutions.
Right. And I think knowing those things is important because how do you separate yourself from the flock?
Right.
And
Exactly.
and knowing that, like, okay, well, if people fail because they take on too much,
Yep.
well, okay, how do I take on less? Or how do
Exactly.
I approach this one day at a time? Or
Mm-hmm.
so I think that is really valuable information. So the first thing is to take inventory. So are you proud of the person that you were this year? And the reason, so the way that I like to look at this is I'm very visual. So going through like a photo album of the year. So if
That's a
you,
great tip.
yeah, if you have
Yes.
an iPhone, you can go in and look at January and say, you know, January was good for this reason, January was bad for this reason, and looking at your gratitude versus your lessons. Because what I found is that this year was really hard for me and for a
How
lot of
so?
reasons. Just because my wellness took a back seat. I was really like bogged down with a ton of work and I had all these high expectations for what I wanted my fitness and my health to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually found that those two things took a back seat because I had put too much on my plate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up losing a lot of steam, feeling really overwhelmed, feeling burnt out,
Yep.
and not being able to really take myself where I was the previous 2 years, where I had really, you know, gotten into boxing and wasn't eating inflammatory items. I also had health issues this year. So in March, I had some issues with my hormones that
Mm-hmm.
took about, I mean, I'm still working on them, but 7 months of like being in and out of surgeries and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I think, you know, there are a lot of factors. Life happens. And
Exactly. So
it,
you can beat yourself up. You, as you say in yourself, you had health issues.
yeah,
So it's how you bounce back. How do you navigate through those challenges? Yeah, you might not be the 100% that you wanted to be, but you didn't completely abandon wellness.
no, I didn't. And I
Right.
think that that's the great thing about the previous 2 years is I can say, okay, well, I set a really good foundation. So I
Mm-hmm.
got through this year just on the minimal things that I did. And I'm really proud of myself for the progress that I did keep. I think I would
Yep.
be much worse off had I not already set that foundation for
Oh,
myself the year before.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so easy to be all or nothing. And it's something we wanted to talk to you guys too. Because when you see that, oh, well, I don't have a whole hour of working out, so I'm just not going to do it at all. But the bottom line is the movement, even 5 minutes, is going to be better than no movement.
Exactly. And I think going to the taking inventory aspect of it is like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I looked at my year and thought, oh my God, it was a really hard year. But when I actually looked at it, and especially
Yeah,
through pictures, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, March was hard, but I actually had X, Y, and Z thing that were really wonderful experiences.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I have a lot of friends who travel a lot. This is like off topic, but kind of gives you an idea what to look for. And I always think, oh man, they travel so much. Not that I want to travel more, but I feel like, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Then I decide I'm going to clean out pictures out of my phone because I have too many Moon's pictures. If you
Yeah.
know, Moon is my dog. I'm like, why do I have 2 million? So I was going through it and I'm like, oh my God, actually, I'm doing a lot of things in my life. My life is actually pretty awesome. I'm doing more traveling than I thought I'm doing. I'm seeing more things than I thought I'm seeing.
Yep.
So I think it's very cool tip that Brit is giving you guys to go back into your phone and kind of recap the year. And I think it's a little bit, if you think about TikTok or Reels, you can see people doing little quick bits and pieces of their like year, right? Like
Yeah.
recap.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of, it's trendy, but I think it's very important to go back and see what did you do this year, like this past year, and how did you enjoy life and what your wellness looked like and what your workload looked like.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to reflect on your year.
And I think from there, you can look at the next little chunk, which is stop, start, continue. And for me, and I'm kind of going through this live because I have to like really sit down and do this. I've just kind of looked at
Mm-hmm.
my photos, but like, what do you want to stop doing?
Yeah.
And for me, like my big stop was like, I don't want to take on more than I can chew. Like I keep biting off more than I can chew.
Yep.
And it's at the expense of my own well-being. And I think like when I look at even the people who I was around during times throughout my life, like looking at the people who were consistent versus the people who, and like how you're going to allocate your time. I think allocation of time for me is really important for me to be mindful of, because I was allocating my time to things and to people that did not further my goals for myself. That time could have then been allocated to my health and fitness and planning my meals and things like that I was doing before, but stopped doing this last year.
Yeah. And you'd mentioned it before, and we wanted to touch on that, right? Your wellness is like 5 people around you.
Yeah, the sum of the 5.
So it's like wellness, fitness, all of it kind of sums up together because you have same habits, you're doing same things. So if people, if you surround yourself with people who enjoy sports, going to the bars, watching football, staying up late at night, that's what you're going to be doing. Then you're going to be having a hard time waking up in the morning. And I'm not trying to put anybody down, but if your goal is to be as healthy as you can be,
right,
then maybe you minimize the amount of time you spend with people like that.
Right. And I think for me, even is establishing what you are willing to do and what you're not willing to do. So like my stop, for example, is I'm probably not going to stop watching sports at sports bars because that's a big part of my life and sports are a big part of my life.
Yeah.
Now, am I going to stop going out late at night every single weekend like I did for October, November, December? Yeah, probably going to stop partying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think like,
okay, accountability right here. We're going to keep you accountable.
Exactly. You heard it here. Okay. If you see me in the bar, kick me. No, I'm kidding. But like every once in a while is fine. But through the holidays, I was like, I have been out too much. Just to make sure we like really iterate what we're trying to say with the stop, start, continues. Like, what are you going to stop based off of what you've just taken inventory on? What do you want to start doing? What was missing from your life last year that you feel like you want to become a core value for you, maybe? And then what are you continuing to do from last year?
Yeah.
Because I think that that's where a lot of is missed, is the continuing. We are constantly striving for more or beating ourselves up for what we did and beating others up for like,
instead of giving yourself praise for the things that you did well
Right.
that year. So I think it's important to reflect on that. If you want to become somebody that is, you think of a person that kind of like you're a motivational person.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want to be a little bit more like this person. So then you want to embody that person in a way, and you kind of have to sit down and think, what is this person they look like?
Mhm.
And you can ask them if it's your friend. Everybody's got a fit friend, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully. You can ask them like, what is your day look like? What are you doing? Like, how are you planning your day? So before you become that person, you can't really change yourself. You have to remember to ask yourself, okay, is this going to support who I want to be?
And I think for me, and that's why I like the start, stop, continue after taking inventory of what your year looked like. The reason I like that is because, and you mentioned like looking at somebody, it's important to have people who are role models that you can ask them and get advice from them. But it's also important to understand, and this is what I've learned over the last few years, is like your experience in life is so much different than everybody else's. And what works for you may not work for somebody else. So collecting the data in order to say, how am I going to create a plan to go forward that can work for me? Understanding what you've done, where you need to grow, what you actually want, and where you're already skilled, I think is really important data to collect on yourself before you start to create an actionable plan that you can move forward from. Because it goes back to what you said in the beginning, which is you can't just wake up New Year's Day and all of a sudden you're a green juice, marathon running, bodybuilding
goddess.
Like it just doesn't work that way. It's like, well, where are you right now?
Yes.
And how are you like where do you want to be? Which goes back to what you were saying. Who are the people that you admire, that you want to be like? And figuring out what that looks like for you and creating a plan around that.
Yeah. But the plan has to be also achievable, and the goals have to be measurable in a way that is not like, oh, I just want to get fit. And I think that's majority people. That's why they fall off,
Mhm.
because they don't have the real measurable goal. So the goal needs to be measurable, achievable, and you kind of have to have time on it. So
Mhm.
you say, okay, instead of I want to be fit, maybe I want to go to the gym twice a week.
Yes.
But then you have to schedule,
And then take action on it,
take
because
action.
I think that's the other thing is like everybody goes into the new year with this big old fancy plan and they're like, I'm going to be the next, I don't know, whoever your person is, or you just
Yeah.
like think you're going to have a six pack by the end of the month. Like, I can guarantee you will not. Like, in the most fit year of my life, I had a 4-pack and it would come and go based off of what I ate the day before. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's an unrealistic goal to say by the end of January, I'm going to go from drinking beers every weekend to like
Right.
dry January, clean eating, working out 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm. So I think the goal should be, instead of I'm getting fit, maybe to become a healthier person.
Or just what you said is like go to the gym twice a week.
Yeah.
I mean, I did what we told everybody not to do recently, which is I said I was going to go to the gym 4 times a week because that's where I was at one point. And
It's not realistic.
because my muscles are not used to what I used to do. So I went to the gym twice last week and almost killed myself. Like, I can go 3 times. I started a harder plan, which is what I was like, let me increase my plan and also go 4 times a week. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
that was dumb of me to do that because I was super unmotivated on day 3 because I could barely walk or sit on the toilet because my hamstrings were so sore. Like, I
Oh,
couldn't.
man.
So, and that's giving myself grace, right? You look back and
Yes.
you say, okay,
I
I
tried.
tried and that didn't work. So now I have to adjust because that's what
Yes.
January is going to be for you. It's going to be
Right.
taking action and being like, I got some adjustments I need to make
Yes.
because that didn't work, and make those adjustments and move on.
Yeah. And adjustment shouldn't be, oh, now I'm not doing anything.
Yes.
Adjustment should be, okay, maybe 3 times was a lot to execute. Maybe I'll try twice and
Mm-hmm.
see where it takes me.
And walks. Like, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
I did. I was like, okay, I'm going to work out twice and then I'm going to go on like 350 because it was the way my schedule worked out. I could do
Yeah.
15-minute walks 3 times a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Just move. Just move when you can. You can do some squats in between writing emails.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Also, not for nothing, if you have a sugar addiction and you just went through the holidays and you think that on January 1st, you're not going to eat any sugar and you're going to completely detox your body from alcohol, sugar, carbs, all of those things, your body, you're going to lose your mind. Don't you? I mean, don't you think? Like,
Well, I think it has to be done with the right coaching if that's your goal. But you have to understand you have to do it gradually. Otherwise, you're just gonna bounce back even higher.
and I
Yeah.
think, yeah, like I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe remove one thing the first week and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe remove another thing the second week. And I don't know, obviously, like, is that something that would be beneficial to people?
I think it depends on the person. I have some clients, they want to do everything at once, but there has to be done certain way
Mm-hmm.
that is sustainable for them, and there has to be accountability around it. But for somebody who is doing, say, something by themselves with no accountability and removing everything and starving themselves, if you're starving yourself, it's not going to work out great for you. Eventually, you're just going to break loose and you're just going to go crazy on all of the things. So it has to be a plan, and you have to fuel your body in the right way so you don't really, I guess, become unmotivated because it's too hard.
And that's kind of where your like add and replace
Exactly.
thing
Things
comes
happen.
in.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, I think that we're going to leave you guys with just those small things because honestly, fuck your resolutions. And you can definitely, like, again, and this will probably be the highlight of most of our episodes, is just like taking inventory, collecting data. What do you want to stop, start, and continue? And then what's your plan? Creating a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then taking actionable steps that you
Yeah.
can adjust to
You can
what is
adjust.
good for you.
Don't be too hard on yourself, but also it's very important to have accountability around it from somebody else, like a
Mhm.
buddy that you can go to the gym together or bounce recipes from things, kind of keep each other accountable.
Yeah.
Go on the hikes, go on the walks together, do things instead of meeting somebody for a drink for happy hour. Maybe you meet them for a little short hike or a little short walk with the dogs.
Yeah.
Things like that. Just think about, again, replacing your happy hour maybe with like a happy hour walk.
Yep.
Without the alcohol. Bring your ginger tea or something.
Yeah, seriously. Or maybe you're not giving up alcohol at all, and it's like you're deciding to give up, sugar.
Yeah.
And if you're giving up sugar, like, what does that look like for you? And how are you going to have to, like, I can't go into baked goods stores. I love them. I love baked goods.
I do too. Just the smell of it, I want to buy it all in Peran, our local little store. Yeah, when you go in, that almond croissant. So good. So just don't buy things. Don't bring it home.
Keeping things out of sight, like the pantry trick I love, where it's just like, keep that out of your line of sight as a whole.
Yeah, just keep it in the bottom. My husband has a bottom shelf because my husband is he likes his little snackies.
Yeah.
So his snackies go on the very bottom shelf of our pantry. So when I open the pantry, I don't look at them. I don't see them. And if I don't see them, I don't think about eating them. But if they're in front of me, I open to go get my raw nuts, but there's like chocolate chip cookies in the middle. I don't know. It's just making things a little more difficult for me personally.
I'll eat chocolate chip cookies every time.
Over raw nuts.
Yeah, 100% of the time I'll eat the chocolate chip cookies. I'll eat 7 of them, actually.
So put them in the bottom. Yeah.
Put them on the bottom.
So they don't see them.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up. We want to let you guys know that on the 6th, January 6th, Sasha is going to be releasing a 5-day challenge. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. But if you're interested in starting a 5-day nutritional challenge, right?
And workouts. So it's going to be very simple. It's going to be 10-minute workouts.
Okay.
It's going to be protein breakfast recipes that you can start yourself with your day, so you feel full and satisfied and you have your energy throughout the day. And also we're going to talk about it in the next podcast, right? About dry January.
Yep.
So we're going to give you some mocktails that you can make for your happy hour. So that's going to be the 5-day challenge for you guys. So we can do it together. It's going to be fun. It's going to be attainable. It's not going to take too much time for you to make different changes. So yeah,
it'll be good. And then stay tuned for Wednesday's episode, which is all about dry January, how to approach it, if you're going to approach it, and really fun mocktails.
And our experience with non-drinking.
Yeah. I'm going to be participating in dry January. This is going to be my first year doing it.
Same here. I've never done dry January before.
I've done like not drinking, but I'll just do it whenever I feel it. I'm not one for New Year's resolutions. I'm really one to just like, when I decide to do something, I just do it. And maybe that's how you approach the New Year's resolution, is like, just start.
That's exactly what I've been saying to everybody. Just when you're ready, start.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the certain date. Don't make it special. Just start making changes.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, you guys, as usual, share with a friend, download. I don't know why I raised my hand. If you're watching the video, I always raise my hand when I don't know.
I'm raising my hand too.
Hello. Share with a friend and download the podcast. That's the best way to get our name out there.
Yeah, and support our podcast. If you're listening, we appreciate you. And yeah, absolutely spread the word. We would love more than anything. That would be the biggest gift you can give it to us, is to share our podcast with your friends.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of The Wellness Hustle, and we will see you guys on Wednesday.
Bye.